Donna Taggert, the dietitian for Department of Aging and Human Services. A few months back, we talked about how to read a nutrition facts label, and I said we'd delve into a little bit more detail some of the things on the label. Last month I did sodium, and this month I'm going to address protein. So what exactly is protein? It's an essential macronutrient. Just like carbohydrates and fats, these are things we need in our diet in a significant amount. Micronutrients being little bits like vitamins and minerals, but the macronutrients we need to get on a daily basis. Proteins are made up of amino acids. They are the building blocks of protein. There's 21 amino acids. 9 of them are essential, meaning they have to be in the food in that to be complete, would have to have all 9 of those essential amino acids. Now, proteins make up our bones, our skin, our organs. It's prolific in our bodies. So very, very important that we get protein. Helps us heal. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the myths out there about protein. One is that we all need the same amount. Well, that is not true. There's an RDA, that's the recommended dietary allowance that's been set for adults. It's at 0.8 grams per kilogram. I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. But depending on what stage of life you're in as an adult, your age, your sex, your physical activity. If you're a woman who's pregnant, lactating, you need a whole lot more protein. And the age is very important. As we seniors age, we start to lose muscle mass. It's harder for us to heal. A lot of things, our immune system doesn't work as well. So we really need actually more protein than we did when we were a younger adult. So that 0.8 no longer applies to us seniors. We really need about 1.2 grams per kilogram of body weight. And you're like, what does that mean? So I'm going to give you an example using a 150-pound person. I'm going to put up on the screen so you can maybe look at it, put in your weight, calculate it for yourself. So for example, I'm not 150, say a 155-pound person. We're going to take that and convert it to kilograms. Divided by 2.2, and that's going to give the kilograms. So 150 divided by 2.2 is 68. So that person is 68 kilograms. Now, if you were going on the bare necessity of how much protein we need according to the RDAs, which is, again, the bar set to just prevent deficiencies, 0.8 times 68 is 54 grams. Yeah, 54 grams of protein. Now, if you plug in 1.2, which is now what we need as seniors, 1.2 times 68 is now up to 82 grams of protein. So divide that by 3 to kind of space it out through the day. That's about 27 grams of protein per meal. So how exactly would we get that? Some of the food sources of protein, animal protein is your meats, your pork, your chicken, fish. They are considered complete proteins. Remember when I said you needed all 9 essential amino acids in that one food to be a complete? That would be the animal proteins. They all have all those amino acids in them. Generally, a size of your palm, deck of cards would be about 3 ounces, and that would be about 25 grams of protein. So there you go for your meals. An egg has about 6 grams of protein. Dairy depends. A glass of milk would have about 8. If you have some filtered milks like Fairlife, would be higher at 13. Greek yogurt has a lot more protein than regular yogurt. So yogurt varies. That's why it's important to read labels. Look at the serving size. Make sure you're eating the amount of serving size for the amount of protein that it does say. Now we switch to plant proteins. They are considered incomplete proteins because they don't all have all those 9 essential amino acids, with the exception of soybeans. So soybeans are complete, but most of your lentils, your legumes, nuts, peanut butter, all are incomplete. An ounce of nuts, about the palm of my hand, would be about 6 grams of protein. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter would be about 7 grams. Half a cup of lentils and different legumes would be half a cup, would be about 9 grams. So they all vary. Obviously not as much as if you were eating meats and stuff. So you have to be a little bit more mindful. Make sure you're getting enough protein, because it's a little bit more challenging, but not impossible, to eat just plant proteins. Now, also with plant proteins, you want to make sure, well, in the past I used to say always eat combinations together at one meal because they were incomplete. You don't have to do that. Just make sure you're getting a variety of plant proteins throughout the day, and you will hopefully, most likely, get all the amino acids that you need. Now, the second myth is that we should only eat lean protein. That kind of comes from the past when we were told fats were bad. But now we know it's really not the amount of fat, it's the type of fat. So yeah, you should eat lean proteins if they're meats because they have saturated fats. That's not good for our heart. But here's some examples. Salmon, high in fat, but really good fat. So you don't want to avoid that because of the fat. Eggs, fat and cholesterol, but eggs bring so much good stuff. Choline for our brains, lutein for our eyes. And they found that the cholesterol in egg is really not what affects our cholesterol at all. It's really the saturated fats we're eating with our eggs, like bacon and sausage, things like that. Full-fat dairy has been shown not to be affecting your heart at all. It's called cardio neutral, no effect on the heart, more satisfying with the full fat. But again, full fat means more calories. So if you're trying to watch your weight, maybe the low-fat dairy would be a better idea, but it doesn't have to be because of the fat. Myth number 3 is that you need protein powders. There's a huge variety, all kinds of varieties of amounts of protein powders out in the market. First thing I have to say is it's a supplement, so it's not regulated by the FDA. There's a cleanlabelproject.org. We'll put that up there so you can research it if you want. If you're into protein powders, check your particular powder on this site. They screened 134 protein powders for 130 types of toxins, and many of them were found to be heavily polluted with heavy metals, some pesticides. So you really, really need to check. And even the organic ones supposedly had a lot of not pesticides, but metals and stuff. So you really need to check the type of powder you're doing. It's a convenient way to add protein for sure. I usually only recommend it for people that are really struggling with eating, say they have trouble swallowing, chewing, and they've had surgery, they need more protein for healing. That may be appropriate, but most of us can get our proteins from regular foods and not have to worry about a protein powder. Many of them have a super amount of protein. There's couple of them that have 80 grams of protein per serving. Now, if you remember the example of a 150-pound person needed 82 grams of protein for the whole day. So, to get a serving of a protein powder that much is going to put you in excess. Not enough protein is not good, but too much protein is not good either. It's bad for on our heart, on our liver, hard on our kidneys, and also on our bones. So you don't need to go excessively high either. So be careful with these serving sizes. Some of those are very high amounts of protein. So that's up to you. If you're not eating well, you don't get enough protein, feel free, but definitely check and make sure the ones you're using are safe. Myth number 4 is high protein diets are best for weight loss. Not necessarily. You can lose weight on any diet if you're cutting down on the calories. But here's the thing, when you cut down on food groups that contribute a lot of health, antioxidants and things that decrease inflammation that are coming from some of the food groups that are not protein, it's better to have a balanced diet and hitting all those groups instead of just focusing on one. And finally, here's myth number 5. You can eat bugs for protein. And yes, that is true, but we're not quite there yet in the United States. Europe, they're doing more research with eating bugs, mealworms, especially are very high in protein. But for most of us, kind of a squeamish thought of trying to eat bugs for our meals. But hey, stay tuned. They are working on that. So anyway, you want to visit myplate.gov. You can click on the little section, there's a plate, and click on the section that says protein. You can learn a lot more about protein there. You can download their app called Start Simple with My Plate, and you can actually plug in all the things you're eating for the day. Find out not only if you're eating enough protein, but if you're really getting all the other nutrients that you need. It's a very cool app, lots of fun with it if you are inclined to doing stuff like that on your phone. So anyway, next month we're going to be talking about prunes. I've talked a lot about how prunes are good, and we're going to see what's so great about prunes next month. But come on out and join me at the centers if you want to learn more about protein than on this video, and I will see you next month if not. Bye.